crusade of Anna will be to bring in electoral reforms. What changes do you foresee being one of the key members behind Anna?
The next crusade, I'm not going to call it the next crusade, but certainly the focus will be on public participation in decision making. Our focus is entirely on participatory democracy. And the reason also is quite obvious. You have to pick themes that are acceptable to everybody. If you say there should be electoral reforms and it has to be done in this way, there will be those who agree and those who disagree. And both can be honestly good opinions. If you say judicial reforms, they can be honestly good opinions, even among different people. But if you say that people's participation in democracy is a good thing, that we must build these institutions to have more and more people's participation, you will get more broad agreement. So one of the things that IAC and institutions like that should do, and I think this will definitely remain a focus of our work, is to say that pick the themes that resonate with everybody. Pick the themes that everybody can identify with. The details are a matter of debate. Details can be taken up in parliament, they can be taken up in the legislature. Sometimes you'll get your point of view, sometimes you'll get a diluted point of view, sometimes you'll get somebody else's point of view. Those don't matter so much. But the principle that the people have a right to participate in government, the principle that people have a right to corruption-free government, those are the things that you should fight publicly for.
Dr. Ashwin, you already spoke about it. There is a smear campaign by politicians against the institution of Lokayukta in Karnataka. What do you propose that your organization, India Against Corruption, propose to ensure this august institution isn't smothered?
Well, it's difficult to smother it, but I think there are certain things that the Lokayukta as an institution needs reform of. As we have said in the Lokpal campaign itself, the Lokayukta also needs more powers to actually carry out certain, beyond the investigation, to take action against people, suo moto and things like that. But obviously with those powers, then it's possible the political class will try even harder to smother the Lokayukta if it had more power. Ultimately, I think these judicial and quasi-judicial systems will prevail, but in the interim here and there will be efforts to dilute the office. One thing I think that can be done is we must come up with a way of making a few more people eligible to hold the office of the Lokayukta. And the reason I say this is there's a limited number of judges going around. If you say that the head of the Human Rights Commission has to be a judge, the head of the State Human Rights Commission has to be a judge, the head of the Police Complaints Authority has to be a judge, the head of every institution has to be a judge. At some point you start running out of really good judges. And you're scraping the bottom of the barrel saying, can we find a judge who will fit this thing? Or, are they all caught up in judicial layout problems now? And that's not a good thing. There are certainly very many nice people, very many good people outside the judiciary too. There's no reason why something that is only quasi-judicial, something that is not a final authority, has to be made only of judges. After all, even in the Police Complaints Authority, the head is a judge, but the other two are members from administration and from civil society. So there's a certain amount of trust that these people can also do the job. If 3 people can be members, there's no reason why any one of the 3 cannot be chairman. We should use the approach of the Election Commission to say any 3 people can be members. One must be a judge, one must be from an administrative background, one can be a civil society person, but any of them can be chairman. This will give you slightly more latitude in appointing more people. And the more people that you bring into the system, the better. And I say this also because judges have a point of view. Judges have a certain background. It's generally understood to be for the good of society to have judges in these spaces. But uniformity of background is also not a great thing. In a country like India especially, you need great diversity of backgrounds from which people come into public space. So I would open up the position of the Lokayukta to more people. Many people have said, why can't UV Singh be made the Lokayukta? By most people's judgments, he's eminently qualified to be the Lokayukta, except that he's not a judge, right? So if you created a system in which good people can come to these positions. I remember we had a round table in Lok Sabha in April, earlier this year, about the Lokpal bill. And a lot of people were giving ideas of who all should be members of Lokpal. And at the end of that process, Swami Agnivesh said at that time, it's interesting that he should be the one who said it at that time, but he said at that time, by all these metrics, Anna cannot be a Lokpal. in some way, we have to come up with a system that says those who have the support of society, those who have the respect of society, are also eligible to hold public office. And that cannot be written down in a way that is always comes from administrative systems and bureaucracies and professions and things like that. And it's important to have that space also.